Good morning and welcome to the Daily Bible Podcast. My name is William Hemsworth. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, we're continuing on through the Gospel of Matthew. We are about halfway through Matthew chapter 4. And today we see the beginnings laid out of Jesus' public ministry. We see where he's going after the temptation, which is where he will eventually find his first disciples, Andrew and Peter. So today we're going to look at Matthew chapter 4, verses 11 and 12, which say, "Then the devil left him, and suddenly angels came and waited on him. Now when Jesus heard that John had been arrested, he withdrew to Galilee." So verse 11 covers the very end of the temptation that the very end of the temptation of Jesus. Jesus resisted the temptation. He answered Satan with Scripture, and the devil left him, and angels came to encourage him in what he was supposed to do. So remember, Jesus has two natures. He has a human nature, just like you and I. And he has a divine nature because he is God. He's the Son of God. The human nature, like us, needs encouragement. You see, for Jesus just to sin one time, the cross would mean nothing. We would still be dead in our trespasses and sins, so to speak. And so the next verse, verse 12, we read, after John had been arrested, he withdrew to Galilee. So here, like I said, Matthew is originally written to the Jewish community to prove that Jesus is the Messiah. He automatically assumes that they know who John the Baptist was. So we get the introduction at the beginning of the Gospel of Matthew. We see the temptation, and then bam, we see that he's arrested. We don't see why. We don't see where. We just see that he's arrested and Jesus withdrew to Galilee. Now, Galilee itself is very significant. It's in the uppermost region of Palestine. It's north of Judea and Samaria. And in ancient Israel, Galilee was home to several of the nation's 12 tribes. And after military takeovers by the Assyrians in the 8th century BC, Galilee was ruled separately from Judea and Samaria most of the time, going into the New Testament period. And some Jews resided in Galilee when Jesus lived there. Many were descendants of the northern tribes of Israel who lived alongside Gentile immigrants. Now, after the New Testament period, the Jewish Mishnah, which is dated around 200 AD or so, refers to Galileans as Israelites, but separately and distinct from those southern Jews or Judeans. You see, we read in the Old Testament that Israel was divided up into two nations, the northern and the south, and we'll get to that eventually through this podcast. But it's a good piece of history to go through. Jesus chose Galilee as the place to restore the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Galilee is very significant. Remember what I said just a couple minutes ago. It is where, at one point, the 12 tribes of Israel lived. Jesus is gathering them all up. This is very significant. There's no accident that there's 12 tribes of Israel and 12 disciples. That's not a coincidence. It's very significant. Very significant. So more than meets the eye when we read that Jesus withdrew to Galilee. He did that intentionally to symbolize that he is gathering his people to send them on a worldwide mission for the new covenant later on. Well, God bless you guys. Hope you enjoyed this edition of the Daily Bible Podcast. Hope you have a great day. We'll continue on tomorrow. We're slowly but surely getting into Jesus' public ministry. But first we have some fulfillments of prophecy to go through. But it's very interesting. The next few passages are very interesting. God bless you guys. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day.